Jenny Page. Awesome.
I'm sorry.
No, listen. When you say sorry, I have to do 10 push-ups, so no sorry. Okay, let's go.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. So this is what I see. Okay, so I'm going to look at it and decode it and see what I see. So you're in costume. That doesn't look like your real hair.
No, I'm definitely wearing a wig.
Okay. You're wearing a crimson, blood red dress with underneath. It's like what is the correct term for that blouse? Whatever it is.
I should know this. Is it camisole? I've forgotten the actual name, but yeah, it's
So this looks like a studio photo.
I actually just took that in my home.
Oh.
I had one of those crazy setups where you put a load of books on a table and you put your phone on the books and hope that it doesn't fall off, and you spend hours trying to get the timer right.
Right. Oh, okay.
I was doing it as a very gentle kind of promotion for a medieval style gig that I was going to do for my birthday. So it didn't need to be anything professional. But actually, the photo turned out okay. I thought.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So the image, you're in the dress. Behind you is like a cream-colored wall. The light's coming from the top. Because of the medieval dress, it looks like a period piece kind of setup.
Yeah.
You're holding your fiddle. You're looking kind of down. Your face is quite neutral. Your hand is actually just blurry enough to suggest that you're actually playing.
I was actually playing. In fact, I was playing the tune that I just started here
Oh.
now. It's an Italian medieval tune called Saltarello.
Okay.
And it was a dance. And this is one of the tunes used for the dance. And it was a court dance in medieval Renaissance Italian courts.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was playing that one in the photo, just to make it look like I'm actually playing. So it's not too posed.
Okay, so but you said this was for your birthday.
Yeah, this year, in January, because it's cooler in January, so you can wear the clothes like this in Hong Kong.
Sure.
My good friends Alex and Sean Softly, who also live on Lamma, and who are two other fantastic fiddlers in Hong Kong, they opened up their rooftop, and with me they learned some Italian, French and British medieval music.
Okay.
And we put on a mini concert because of COVID and everything. We didn't open it up to the public, really.
Just on the roof, people walking by could hear it?
I guess they probably could, but we didn't have many people walking past. But we had enough people come to the rooftop. Everyone was being sensible and like keeping social distance and everything. Because January we still had a lot of cases. But yeah, it was nice just to have a small gathering, be able to play the music, and actually everyone that was playing with me, so we had Alex and Sean on guitar and viola, and a friend of mine, Yuko, was playing the barn, the Irish drum.
Right.
And Chris was on the pipes.
Oh, wow.
And we were all dressed in, not strictly speaking, authentic medieval clothes, but we were dressed in things that felt like it sort of represented that era.
Okay.
Because I have a couple of dresses with the long sleeves, so I lent them out to the girls, and then Chris was wearing something that made him look a little bit, a sort of a mixture between a Lord of the Rings elf and a medieval lord.
Right. Okay. Everybody's okay. So I love this. I love the photo. I love being welcomed into your world. I have to describe what's around because the environment is amazing. Okay, so in our exchange, you're like, do you like Tolkien? And I made some silly joke. And what I like is everybody's kind of bent. Everybody's a little bit strange. Everybody's kind of idiosyncratic.
Yeah.
The fact that you went on a roof and you're playing together is beautiful. And I can imagine the setting, wintry, less full-on jungle, but still kind of green and dry brush, but with the hillside behind and water around.
Yeah.
But you're in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
so which is quite Asian, and then you're playing this music.
Yeah.
It's a little strange.
Well, the wonderful thing about the people I was playing with on the rooftop as well is we're all members of the band Arbory, which is traditional tune band. We play British, Canadian folk tunes and some Irish as well. And Arbory is made up of 6 people, and we cover 3 different continents. We all met in Hong Kong.
Oh wow!
Apart from the Canadian couple, they're married. They met in Canada. But yeah, we've got 2 guys from Canada, 1 from the US, 1 from Japan.
Okay.
And then the piper is from Hong Kong.
Oh wow!
And then I'm English.
Okay.
And I love that I moved to Asia and found people that not only do they like the same kind of music as me, but they all play the same tunes, and if we don't know the same tunes, we learn them, and we'll have sessions.
Sure.
Not jam sessions, but tune sessions. I know for anyone that isn't completely aware, jam session, like maybe you'll turn up and anything could happen, any instruments could be there. Tune sessions, it tends to be more folk musicians turning up to specifically play tunes.
Yeah, more structured.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And we'll do that often, and it's just awesome being in Hong Kong, and I think it's the reason that I'm still here. I never imagined moving to Hong Kong and, actually settling and getting my PR and having a very solid
home
base here. Solid home with so much music.
Wow.
So much music.
So we yes, totally. we drifted off from the environment because we're in your room and it's like there's a harp behind me.
Yeah.
There's a harp. What is that called?
That's a lyre.
A lyre. A lyre. Yes,
yeah.
right. There are 2 lyres in the room. One's made out of wood. As you promised, you have several bottles of gin.
Yeah. I like my gin.
There are lots of books. Terry Pratchett, a few plants, very nice. Samira, a exercise bike, some hangers.
That's my punk band.
Okay, so there's a poster on the wall that says Bali Chunder.
Yes.
What's the story of? Am I saying it wrong? How would I say it correctly?
That is exactly how
Bali
you should say it. Bali Chunder, yeah. Bali Chunder.
Okay, what is Bali Chunder?
Well, Bali is a word that you'll often find in Irish towns, like.
Right.
Did you ever see the TV show Bally Kiss Angel?
No.
No. Okay. That was a big one in Britain when I was growing up. Bali. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Think Irish town.
Okay, town.
Because we're an Irish, folk punk band. We started off just doing Irish stuff, but now we do all sorts. And then Chunder, meaning to throw up.
Yeah.
So I guess it translates as to puke town.
Yeah. Well, how old is this? The poster, and how old is the band?
The band started. That's a good question. We've been going for maybe 4 or 5 years.
Also in Hong Kong.
Yeah. So
full on.
There's a great punk scene in Hong Kong, and 2 members of one of the punk bands called Defiant Scum, which unfortunately no longer is going. I know, a great name, right?
No, but it's like the what's it called? Monty Python, when they're talking about like football teams or whatever. It's like all these crazy names. It's just like, right, okay, so Defiant Scum, go on.
Defiant Scum, great punk band in Hong Kong. The three of the members, Marcus, Murray, and Pierre, they are good friends of mine, and Murray and Pierre decided they wanted to go down the folk punk route, like do some of that. Something similar to the Pogues, but even more crazy.
Okay.
And they put together a ragtag band of musicians, and who was it to begin with? It was a guy called James on banjo, and Jimmy on.
It has to be
bass.
Jimmy. You had to have Jimmy and James.
Yeah, right.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And actually, Jimmy is the bassist in Arbory as well.
Okay.
So I get to be in 2 bands with him, which is nice.
How many bands are you in?
That's a good question. Arbory, Over the Border, Bali Chunder, Nagan Egypt, and then I play with an accordion player, and I play with a guitarist as well. quite a lot. Six things going on.
Well, when I sent you a message, you're like, "Oh, I'm having a mental weekend because it's gigs all weekend." I was like, "That is the best."
That's true.
If you,
That's true.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to this photograph. How is that opening a door you want to talk to?
So I have, for quite a lot of my life, had the mentality that if you're going to do something, it has to be done properly. And it's taken me a long time to figure out how to make that work for me. Because especially with my degree being in folk and traditional music.
Where's your coffee? Have more.
Take another sip.
You very nicely agreed to join me at like 7 a.m. or whatever time it is right now. Feel free to sputter. It's good. Okay.
And obviously on this degree we're learning a lot about traditional music of the British Isles, and we learn a lot about authenticity. And actually that came into so many of my modules on my degree, this idea of authenticity in music, in life in general. Like it was one of the philosophical things I remember actually looking at in some of my modules. And I have always just been very aware of how a lot of musicians, particularly folk musicians in the UK, really do work very hard on their research. They're always looking for new music in the UK to bring to audiences, but keeping it traditional, keeping it authentic.
Right.
And I have always admired that, and I love it. I do. But there's just so much else going on in my head. I want to do this, I want to do this. But I've been so worried about how other people will react to that.
Okay.
Maybe there will be people turning around and saying, "Oh, but you haven't done this, or you haven't done this, or you haven't done this." And I always feel like I haven't researched enough.
Okay.
And I think that that's my own issues, my own insecurities. And as I've gotten older, and certainly as I've moved to Hong Kong, I've started to just think, why am I putting off doing the things that I want to do because I'm worried about how other people will perceive it?
Right.
And the medieval night for me was a big step forward, because I don't have authentic medieval instruments. I have played some before in the UK, but I don't have any, especially not here. And I don't necessarily play the tunes exactly how they would have been played. I have done a lot of research. I love reading about, the history of the time and reading about musicians of the time. And I've been very lucky to be able to play with some fantastic musicians in the UK, which I was very happy about. Like one of my teachers on my degree, a guy called Paul Martin, who is he is a medieval piper, and he taught me a lot. I learned so much from him. But I just really wanted to bring that music back and play it with my friends here, but also just have a night where we dress up and, play the music, drink and have fun and just be merry.
So in my sort of personal exploration or whatever, this notion of dressing up, which sounds so childish or whatever, but this notion of inhabiting a different persona or exploring, like for example, you getting down to the clothing, which is not perfect, and the music, which is maybe not perfect, but in this situation or setting, not exact.
Yeah, exactly.
But is it a question of, in terms of that notion of authenticity, is it about honoring the past? Is it about reviving the past? Is it about capturing something lost? What in that really kind of ignites your interest?
That's a very good question. I think everyone's idea of authenticity in music probably differs a little bit. So I'm sure some people are coming to it thinking it's about revival, accurate revival. Other people are coming to it thinking it's about keeping it alive.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it was about, what I was worried was that I wasn't going to be representing it properly. But then I just thought, but by not playing the music, I'm not representing anything
Anyways.
at all.
Yeah.
So I may as well just play the music.
Sure.
And the great thing about Hong Kong audiences, actually, I will say this about Hong Kong audiences, is they just love live music.
Oh, okay.
You don't get people coming up to you here making comments about how you could work on this, you could work on this. Maybe friends will do that afterwards. But one lovely thing here is that people just enjoy the live music, especially now with all of the closures and everything. We take what we can get, eh?
Yeah.
And that was one really lovely thing about the medieval night. No one cared that we weren't playing exact instruments of the time, or that maybe one of the tunes we were putting in chords that wouldn't have been played. We were just trying to create an atmosphere. Right. It worked well.
Do you feel like it sort of begs to be asked in how you're describing it? And, you know, I mean, we're having a conversation face to face, so I can read your face and your body language, whatever. So is the notion of like imposter syndrome something?
I have that so massively.
What? No. Okay.
And I've talked to so many musicians about this, and teachers, like some of my music teachers as well. And this is a very big thing in the music world that actually I don't think gets talked about enough. This idea of, should I really be here? Like, do I deserve to be here?
Right.
Am I doing anything good? Am I bringing anything to anyone? And certainly you're always going to have gigs that don't go that well.
Right.
That's just, if you're gigging enough, it's going to happen.
Of course.
And after those gigs, it can be
sure
quite, for me, I should say, it could be quite mentally damaging. It was one of the reasons why I thought to myself, am I cut out to be a full-time professional musician?
Right.
And I made the decision, not lightly, that I was not cut out for full-time.
Okay.
So I would argue in Hong Kong I'm a part-time professional musician. Like I have my full-time day job and I do the music in the evenings and the weekends.
Right.
And this is kind of perfect for me because I'm not reliant as much on the income coming into the music.
Sure.
So I really can take a step back if I need to. And that's been how I've got through the insecurities that I've had.
Okay, so the podcast, it's framed around photography, using photographs. But the underlying question is, you know, we have one life. How do we live in a way that we make the most of every second, right? And so by talking to different people, you're the second musician, maybe the first. Everybody's a bit weird, so the first token bonkers person. That's a compliment, kind of. Okay, but so this is kind of how you craft an understanding of your life and of reality, and I'm all about coaching people and helping people feel that whatever they're doing and going through is okay. So when you're saying that, the whole thing about the imposter syndrome and everything, part of it could be because of an age, right? Like, I think when you're younger, you really give a fuck about everything. So shit, I have to get this right. But the older you get, you're like, I'm just going to have fun. Or,
That's definitely happened, yeah. I mean, I'm glad that I do think about these things because I do think that it is important to think about the history of music and how far it's come and what it used to be like, you know, the instruments, how they were really played. And, you know, I will happily go to, say, a Baroque or Renaissance performance with musicians playing actual instruments, and the things that they can do to keep this music alive are absolutely superb. It's astounding. It's just that I also wanted to do other things.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.